Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts, and who are you?
Me.
Who are you?
Me.
Who are you? Who's
Me.
that? Who's that boy in there? Say your name.
Me.
This is Theodore Roberts. Are you Theodore Roberts?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So this is the daily energy reading. This is my son Theodore, and everybody knows that, I think. And this is for the 14th, no, it's for the 15th of March 2021. Take what resonates and leave what does not. I appreciate all of the comments, and thank you to subscribing as always. And the new subscribers, really appreciated, more than you know. So this is okay, let's do the bottom of the deck first. So we've got the Five of Wands. Surprise, surprise.
Five of Wands.
So we've got the Five of Wands. Speaking of conflict, Theodore.
Can I count?
This is conflict. You can count those ones. So this is obviously this is still an underlying theme. You don't need to be psychic to say that or know that, but there's this underlying theme of conflict. A lot of it manipulated and infused into the collective to serve the narrative, and a lot of people with these being triggered by that infusion for sure, and just other energies to realize what needs to be put right on the within. In this card, they're not willing to do that, so they externalize it, and it becomes, instead of it being an internal fire, an internal force to sort through those conflicts and unpick those triggers, it ends up being an external force that is often very wordy, often very mouthy, often very annoying. The importance is with the Five of Wands is that it's still at a level that is just sort of brewing, that is just, it's not too serious, it's not too dangerous. Are you putting me down? Stop it. He's putting me down. So it's not too dangerous, it's not too serious. But what does make it serious is that it's coming from a place of triggers somewhere within, for good or bad, mostly bad. And this is where you are then it serves you to in the good energy, the internal fire, the internal force. It serves you to give it's like a roadmap where you're being triggered. You know that's where you need to start questioning. That's where you need to start looking at the triggers and going deeper underneath them as to why they're there in the first place, as to why they can be used against you, why you can i.e. be triggered. That would be in the good energy of this card. What we're seeing mostly in the collective and those close to us, and some of us at times, everybody gets affected to varying degrees, then it turns into this external force, and it becomes more negatively infused. What then makes it really serious, just like if you start unpicking these conflicts, these triggers on the within, you get to really serious work. There's often very serious questions to ask self. But at the same time, if you get to the outside and you either putting out this external force of conflict, endless conflict, this brewing, and then somebody picks you up on that, or vice versa, then that and joins into it in a serious manner, then that triggers what would be that internal seriousness and questioning and unpicking of those trigger points, and therefore wounds underneath those trigger points. When you dig deep enough, it gets very serious in the way that it is it gets charged. It gets into that Seven of Wands, that attack. It then gets into the quickening, to the Nine of Wands, where you think, where did I go wrong there? And a lot of you are looking back at certain arguments you've had with people in the collective or those close to you in the last few days, and asking that very question as I say it, because that you realize that I should have not engaged in that. That was a fishing hook. Their conflict, their brewing, their criticism was a fishing hook to hook me into something serious in order to serve their own or my own, if you're putting this in vice versa, my own requirement and need, or their own requirement and need, to unpick and look deeper within. So there's that, and that's just enlightenment. We all learn each and every day something new, and that's just enlightenment to realize that that conflict is still brewing, and that conflict is still around and very in wanting, in need to hook you back into this argument that you had previously. It's important that you take the message on board to realize that even in you responding in a serious manner to somebody else's external conflict gives you even a signpost on top of everything that I've just said, to say that what did they say? At what point did I lose the wisdom to maintain distance? At what point, what thing did they say, or how did they act? So where is that in me? What's underneath that? And you'll probably come up with some previous events, some previous abuses, feelings that happened, that then you have this signpost to say, right, okay, I can go back, I can fix that. I can travel through this construct of time in this realm and actually fix that in real time now. And then we've got the Knight of Wands. So basically, this is the energy combining with the Six of Wands would make Six of Wands, combining with the Five of Wands would make Six of Wands, which is victory. It is a victory over something. It's a victory within self. And it gives you this wave to ride, this fire to go forward in victory, which you're going forward in a lighter way, in a lighter fashion, and you're able to enjoy yourself even more, know yourself even more, heal yourself even more. So it's good and bad. It depends how you use it. Like everything, it's the intent. And this Knight of Wands does go in quickly. So often when you're doing this kind of thing, say you get that signpost, you start to think back, what did they say? What was my trigger point to hook me in to make it more of a serious conflict? When you go back to that point, you end up being able to say that that is now either a victory, and you can start looking at life with the intent of this victory because you've done something within self that lifts you up and lets you ride that wave. Or, like the intent of everything behind it, you can not do that, and this argument is going to come back around and become more serious incrementally and very fast. Also, the Wands are fast. It's burning energy, it's fiery energy. So we've got the Six of Cups as the first card. It speaks to looking back to the past where emotional connections lie. Water holds memory. We hold memory. And so they're looking back to things that have occurred in the past, what we've just discussed. Six of Cups, unbelievably, again, like yesterday, Six of Cups with matching cards clarifies the Six of Cups. So you think you're just sorting out this one trigger when you do this kind of introspection. You think you're just figuring out this one thing, and it's great. Yeah, it makes you feel lighter. But actually, as the days unfold for a lot of you, it's going to be that you are unfolding the gift of you doing that for yourself. With you gifting yourself introspection and doing what you thought was great, yeah, it lightened you up. You're going to see that the depths that this goes to, because that same energetic imprint that is held in your water, in your memory, is then changed. So anywhere else that energetic imprint is, in any other different type of wound, and things merge into each other, any other different type of limitation, either via the external and therefore self, it's always self, whether it's from the external or completely on you. All of this energetic imprint is then infused now into what was something that was limiting, a memory that was held in your water that was limiting. So the importance of you doing this work is going to be a light bulb moment, either today or later on in this week, of thinking, that didn't just fix that. that reached through all realms of self, all periods of time, and changed a lot, if not all, of what this wound was, that limitation was, this label was. And so you're going to find that it really does lift you up, that you really do combine that 5 of Wands with that Knight of Wands, the wand in his hand. And it's fast work. You know, when you're doing this, it's fast work in that usually your quick memories of where did this happen to me before is the one you work with. It is the one you'll get the most out of, and it'll unravel other quick answers to those memories. And you go with the quick answers usually. And so this is going to unfold to mean something so much bigger. What does that do for the collective? It lifts the frequency wherever you are, whatever other waters you affect, and you're going to affect some, if not many, because, you know, once you're in each other's aura space, energetic space, you're already exchanging and infusing energies, even with people waiting in a queue at the shop. And so this is where it lifts the frequency of you, and like a pebble in the river, it lifts the frequency, it ripples out. And so what seems like, you know, important to you, great at the time, is actually fantastic for you and absolutely fabulous at the time, and is unfolding to become a gift then that is passed down through the collective. So, and often with this kind of healing, because these cards combine the 6 of Wands here, it's a special combination when 2 cards in the story of the day of the energies can unfold to take you into the next elevation of those 2 cards combined, which in this is a victory. Then you've got the 2 cards of the 6 of Cups clarifying each other. This tells me, it makes me feel, it's how I read, that there's so much importance to this, that actually as she's passing down those flowers to this lady here, you actually pass down through this type of work that seems pretty small at the time in the grand scheme of your life and of things, actually is passed down through generations and actually reaches back through generations. So say you heal yourself of something, there's one of you out there that is a lady that I'm literally seeing, and you heal yourself of something that has been caused by the initial imprint that your mother passed down to you of a certain wound. You've attracted a certain relationship in, and it's gone wrong, and you felt the judgment of your mother. It hasn't really been from a place of judgment, it's been a place from her trigger point, her inner wound of wishing she had made different decisions, and in hindsight can see that happening in your relationship in the present now. Instead of it being passed down in a great way, it's being passed down through a lot of aggression via words that is veiling a wound that is really out of love, that just does not want you to go through that again. Your mother maybe wasn't taught or isn't taught or doesn't know how to do inner work. And this is a wound that is therefore passed down, and you've sort of repeated history with different characters involved, and she's had to watch that unveil. So I can feel your mother's heart right now, and it is out of absolute and utter pure love. It's just the words are expressed through that force, that conflict externally, so not very productively. And so this is going to help you today to see that, and it's going to help you to emphasize, and for others that resonate with this message, that are just listening to you, is that you then, through doing this work, your mother starts to, as she's been watching you so closely, because she's been deeply worried really underneath all of that conflict, she's going to start to see it unveiled that actually you've made real changes and you're never going back to that type of relationship again. She watches how you act, how you speak, and learns from it. So you're reaching even back in time as well as into your future simultaneously to heal a wound. that has been passed down. So that's the depth. I wasn't going to go into that, but that's, somebody needed to hear that, and that is the depth of how new relationships are formed on top of old foundational relationships through this type of work. And it's gonna lift you up and create relationships that are so much more pleasant and can be expressed so much more freely. And the love that is wanting to be expressed is expressed in a much more productive way outside of this conflict. We've reached the Six of Wands with these two together. And so the Four of Pentacles in reverse is the next card. And this speaks to the Four of Pentacles in the upright. In this energy would be holding on, clinging on for that lady, you know, clinging on to this relationship until you've had this ultimate time in the past period of time recently where enough was enough, that has triggered this response. So out of what seems really unproductive at first, you and many other people have created it into something truly productive. Because in the Four of Pentacles, where you are clinging on, that is in reverse. And that's for a lot of you in different ways, however it resonates with you. So it's in reverse, which is where you're sort of letting go. You're not being miserly with the old. You're letting things flow. And that conflict is flow, but you've used it, and many of you have used it for something productive, a victory, but a victory on so many levels and in so many ways. And this is what we've got to remember when we think, what's the point of doing something, especially when it's the most simple things? What's the point in showing some kindness? What's the point in smiling to that neighbour that never smiles back for the last 15 years every day? The point is that there's these points that synchronize perfectly together for us when we do that, when we're in flow, that even in the darkest times, that feel like the darkest or most annoying times, the times of conflict, all of a sudden the energies will be so synchronistic and so much in flow, or there'll be that the conflict is the dam breaking, and people are just at the right point in energies to pick up on it and do something good with it. So the point is that to not measure what a smile does for your neighbour, even if they keep up the grumpy facade, or what this kind of trigger healing work does for you, and try and measure it. Just be in flow with it and feel the energy of it, and that lessens the limitation or takes away the limitation of this one thing actually eventually being the dam that breaks, that creates healing in all aspects of time and all levels of beings. And this is where true change is created. And this is a message that clarified by the Chariot. This is quickening in movement in spirit, but it is the star that goes across the sky. It is the yin and the yang. You can't go across the sky in the Chariot if you're out of balance. If you're divine feminine and divine masculine, your yin and your yang energies are out of whack, you're going to rip your chariot in two. And often this is when we have real spiritual breaking, not just physical breaking, but we feel it even more in the physical, those times in our lives where we are spirit broken. And this is where this is the deeper meaning of this trigger healing that is happening for many today, with these two cards clarified and those two cards on the bottom complementing each other. This is where we have not just physical healing, but spiritual healing. This is where we can charge across the sky, charge through all aspects of time in our own lives, and even unfolding into ancient lives. Because we're not going to throw the chariot in two, we're not going to break it in two, we're whole in spirit through this, what seemed like a silly conflict in the grand scheme of things. And it was in the letting go in the physical, the submissiveness nature to it, the being in submission to the energies at the right time, creates this huge jump forward in where we want to see ourselves and the collective and the direction that we can go in. So we've got the 6 of fire, 6 of staffs. This is powerful message. Sorry, and then you said your name there. Whoever I'm picking up on, this is such a powerful message for you, and the amount of difference and healing, and I can't even limit it with enough words, so I say etc, 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 is huge. So I'm not going to say your name, I'm trying not to say it. So it's the 6 of staffs, to clarify, not to clarify, to flow from the 4 of pentacles being in reverse, which is what we start off with as the underpinning energies in the 6 of wands here, with the 5 of wands combined with the ace of wands that knight is holding. And so this is the victory, and the victory is felt, and it's so big for a lot of you, and in particular this lady, that it can be felt, and it's going to keep gushing. It's that feel good feeling that keeps coming, you know. So it's really powerful as to what's happening. We've got the 2 of wands to clarify the 6 of wands. So this makes the 7 and the 8 is the 8 of wands. So we've got that quickening of messages from your own spirit to your physical self, and ancestral messages, and just knowings coming forward in the fire, in the flame. Look up the flame that's never gone out, as far as we know, in Iran, somewhere, forgotten where. But there's tenders to this flame, and it's seen to be a really honorable thing, and it's the everlasting flame or something like that translated. But it's the fire that isn't allowed to go out, and this is the kind of 8 of wands that's created through this 6 of wands with the 7 of wands. The quickening of the 7 with the chariot here as the major arcana going into the 8 is vast, and it's unfolding. And so you're going to keep getting gushes of this inner standing, gushes of this physical bliss through this inner knowledge. So it is super powerful, a day for the lady in particular, and for all of us. It's a really powerful day. So much love, stay balanced and stay whole. I hope that all made sense to you. Sorry, sometimes when I go into like real deep connection with the message, I can wander off a bit. So I hope it made sense to you, and it helps you reach the highest potentials today, for sure. The energies facilitate it, for sure. So I hope you all do it. I think I've already been doing it today, and it's interesting it came up, and for all of us to be doing it, that would be a super powerful, really powerful injection into the collective and the direction that we seem to be going in. But if many people were doing this, would not. Much love.